We've got our last speaker of the evening, Aren Grimshaw. As you'll be able to see on the bio sheet, which is huge for him, he's very active in Cornwall, Cornwall Festival as well. Yeah, he's done a hell of a pass. So yeah, read your bio sheet for him. He's done absolutely loads. Instrumental developing a number of social media communities within the Southwest. Role as lead organiser of Cornwall's festival events. He managed 2 successful events during 2009. Significant amounts of local and international charities. Currently involved in plans for the upcoming Festival Global 2010, acting as one of 3 UK coordinators. Following the success of the 2009 festival, Aren co-founded Cornwall Social Media Camp, who has since gone to support the development of other regional networks, including the Devon Social Media Camp. So he's on with his next talk. Thank you.
You all stuck around after food. That's always a good sign. I realise it's quite late in the evening, and this is going to be slightly more rambly than I normally am. I've had an ear infection for the past couple of weeks, so this has actually been prepared this afternoon while sitting in my premiering room. I'm quite happy to be interactive with my presentation, so if you want to holler out, disagree with me, ask a question as I go through, that's fine. Just understand if I answer too many questions as we go through, then I might not get through to the end of my presentation by the end. So it's up to you with balance as we go through. Just to clarify on what Michael's just said about me, can you all hear me by the way, because I'm not used to using microphones either. My role is currently as marketing director of a media marketing agency in Cornwall called Tonic Media. Tonic Media is a publisher of a business magazine called Business Cornwall. We're also the publisher of a business news website. I'm the founder of Cornwall Social Media Cafe, and as Michael said, I've been involved with Cornwall Festival, both events in 2009, the local and the global, which are going to be case studies within this, so I'll kind of explain when we get onto that. I'm going to be talking about the idea of communities and community engagement. I couldn't think of a proper title for it, so I've gone with something about community engagement, which pretty much kind of explains what I'm going to talk about. So first up here, I've got kind of a definition for community. It's really difficult to find an accurate definition of what a community is because there's so much disagreement on it, and this could be the subject of the entire talk, could just be what we define as a community. But at least for the purposes of what I'm talking about today, it's the idea that people are united by at least one common characteristic. And those kind of characteristics can be innate characteristics such as the fact that you're male, that you live in a particular area, which is more geographic, but there's all different kinds of characteristics, and the thing is that we fit into more than one of those as well. So, to use me as an example, my innate kind of characteristics and also my experiences are that I'm male, I'm 28 years old, so therefore I'm in my late 20s, or I'm between 20 and 30s as a demographic group. I'm the father of 2 children, so therefore I'm a young father. I have children, all of these kind of things, young children, so these put me into all sorts of different online communities or communities in the offline world as well. Then you've got the geographic ones, so I live in a particular town, St Austell, I live in a particular region, such as Cornwall, and then I'm also part of the United Kingdom. And then interest-wise, I've got interests such as social media, business, and social good. So I might fit into all of these different communities, and online they might all represent different communities that I interact with and will share interests with other members of those communities. Another nice little quote on communities. To some people it's a feeling, to some people it's relationships, to some people it's a place, and to some people it's an institution. And in the kind of case studies that I'm going to go through, you'll see kind of a mixture of all of those. Some will fit into more than one of those categories. What I'm going to start with is Business Cornwall, which is our magazine and website, or at least that's the brand. I will explain at this stage that my presentation will be available on SlideShare following this, and what I do, the address will come up at the end. Anything you see in purple is a link. So if you just click on the link, it will take you to any of the resources that I mentioned. Any sources for particular information or quotes will take you to the full report as well. So it's an interactive presentation you can take away after and use if you so wish. So in terms of Business Cornwall, as I said, it's a printed magazine, and it's also what we call a hyper-local media site, in that it's based around a very specific small area and then also a niche within that area. So we directly communicate with businesses based in Cornwall, quite simply. And our community consists of those interested in Cornish business. They're predominantly small to medium enterprises or SMEs. Most of them are micro businesses, that is to say they're owner-managed businesses with maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 employees. And also the region's very diverse. There's a lot of local differences. So one area will be dominated completely by tourism, another one will be dominated by kind of manufacturing. It's quite broad, and a lot of the areas don't tend to talk to each other either. There's a lot of kind of southeast Cornwall doesn't interact with West Cornwall, and North Cornwall doesn't interact with Mid Cornwall. It's kind of very split up, so it's quite a sensitive area to kind of work in. So in terms of magazine, we publish that 10 times a year. This is your traditional, free to subscribe, advertising paid for magazine. It's sent to 4,300 named decision makers at companies across Cornwall, and it's the only dedicated business magazine within the duchy. Then we've got the website, and it's very busy, as you can see, and the idea is that media sites have to be busy because it needs to look like something's going on all of the time. And the difference with between the magazine and the website is the magazine, as I said, was published 10 times a year, so roughly monthly, whereas the website's updated with the latest news as we go throughout every day. It's free to access again, and this one's had over 50,000 unique visitors over the last 12 months, and over 150,000 page views, to give you some idea of our kind of size. And our kind of core philosophy is about engaging with the community with the aim to provide opportunities for our community to share their ideas and stories, creating shared meaning. And what I mean by that is that it's not just about a magazine and a website. If we're talking about engaging communities, then we have to go out there in the real world and mix with them and talk to them. Our content, believe it or not, there's only 3 of us in the company. One is full-time on sales, one is the editorial director, so he's responsible for writing the entire magazine and uploading the stories to the site. And my role is pretty much going out here and doing talks like this, but also consulting clients and looking after the marketing of the company. So we have to be pretty savvy with our time, so we couldn't do it without our community. So we rely on our community, including public relations people, to update the stories, send them to us themselves via their own accounts that we create them, and then we check every single story before it goes on, but that saves us the issue of having to source those stories. So it's by providing a service to public relations people and everyone else in the community that we're able to reach so far with what we do. In terms of how we use social media as technical platforms, every time we upload a story to the site, it goes out on Twitter. Every time we upload a story to the site, it goes to Facebook automatically. But more importantly than that, we also receive the communication back. It's a two-way process, it's a dialogue. We can't just put that content out there. This is not a broadcast channel. There are 5 billion bits of content shared on Facebook every week. There are 20 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every minute. So if you look at this as some kind of other broadcasting medium, if you term it as a channel, in the same way that you would with other marketing channels, then you're not going to get much of a result. You have to engage with people, you have to build a relationship with them, and keep you in their mind at all times. We also integrate content from popular social media sites. So Flickr, for example, all of our photographs on the site are uploaded to Flickr first, so that people can view them should they be on that platform rather than on our site. And we feed them directly into the site. Likewise, we look for any mention of the term business and Cornwall on Twitter, and we feed that directly into our site, providing user-generated content that comes from the web in real time.